Hey guys, considering that the new year is almost here, I thought it was a good time, not necessarily to share a New Year's resolutions sort of video, but what my career progression goal is for 2019. For those of you who don't know, every year I set what it is I'm trying to accomplish, how I'm going to get there, what I'm going to study, what I'm going to do, what events I might attend, those types of goals, to really make sure that every year I am not only staying relevant with the latest technologies, but I am just a better quality of developer. And so we're going to talk about what I plan on doing in 2019, and more importantly, why, right? Why I think these are things that provide value in my life as a professional, as just someone who enjoys software, and how it's going to help my career. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, I want to take a moment to recommend Dev Mountain Coding Bootcamp to you. Dev Mountain's been a long-term sponsor of mine. I appreciate their support as I've helped grow the channel and tell everyone about their great facilities. I've actually been to their Provo, Utah campus, and it's beautiful. So if you're interested in a full-stack JavaScript bootcamp, they provide housing alongside the tuition, so you can get up and go today. They're one of the most affordable bootcamps in the world, in the States, and I highly suggest you check them out at devmountain.com. So before we dive into sort of what some of my goals were or are, let's talk the past 2 years, how every year it's changed, because this isn't the first year I've done this. I don't know if I've done a completely one dedicated video to these topics, but 2 years ago when I first started working as a developer, about 2.5 years ago, I should say, my goal was, let's say about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, my goal was to become a developer. It was to study every day. It was to get that first entry-level job. And so, my first goal was to get an internship. Second goal was to study every day, start going to meetups, and start building a network, and finally land that job. So that was 3 years ago. And there's we've talked about that quite a bit. I have a whole video dedicated to that. 2 years ago, what was my goal? Well, my goal was to keep my first dev job and to get better, right? And to do that, at that time, what I found was valuable was to increase my knowledge when it came to frameworks. It was to increase my knowledge with JavaScript and PHP at that time when I was working in PHP, and make sure that all the tools, all the resources, all the technologies that was in my immediate environment, that I spent the time, effort, and energy to learn them. That was it. It was a very framework heavy, technology heavy year where I just wanted to add on technologies and languages, and I did. I added 5 to 10 different things. And we've talked about that in the past as well. So this last year, what was the goal? This last year was to take a couple things. One, it was to get a large salary increase from a very practical standpoint, because I felt like it was possible, and it worked out. So that's great. Two was, and probably the second thing was how I got to that pay bump or whatnot, was to increase my overall code level. And so that's sort of a very general statement. So what does that mean? Well, it means I wanted to become a better developer, and I had to figure out how that is. And the way that I was able to do it was thankfully to some mentoring from my colleagues and my tech lead, and sort of providing me the good direction to go, was to learn more about writing clean code, to learn more about what that even means, to learn more about the solid principles, and better understanding test-driven development, the importance of tests. I'd done unit testing before, but never really understood it. Understood how to write a proper unit test, to dive more into Agile, Scrum, Gherkin, acceptance criteria, and to really understand what it means to be a professional. And so I did that in numerous different ways, reviewing the technologies that were recommended. I read about 6 software books, close to probably 4,000 pages worth of books, going over these topics. I watched videos, I built projects, this year was about leveling that code up and really going from a junior to a mid and upper to senior level of writing code as a front end developer, and to really specialize in that. And so that was this last year. And so what am I trying to do in 2019? Well, a couple things that I think would help my career and help me. And so one thing that I'm doing is I'm lucky enough to be in a position to have been sponsored by Dev Mountain for like 2 years now, and we've had a great working relationship. And so what I'll be doing is, in exchange for videos, I'll be doing their quality assurance boot camp, which will be great. And that'll be online. It'll be a 10-week program, and it's nice that I have that opportunity, and I want to take advantage of it. Is my suggestion, right? And so, do I have any real interest in doing quality assurance? No, but to be a great specialist, you have to be a good generalist, and I'm sure I'll pick up a few things in the process. It'll be fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy it all, really. I just happen to be the best at the front end because that's what I've done the most in. And people typically, when they're paying you ridiculous amounts of money, want you to do what you're good at, not what you're bad at, right? Not to say I couldn't get better, but that's the name of the game, right? If you're paying a plumber to do your toilet, he's like, and you ask him if he knows electricity, he's like, nah, but I figure it out. You're probably like, all right, I'll just go get an electrician then, right? It's the same thing. But that's one thing that I'm going to do to increase my value. There's a very specific certification I'm interested in that I've seen that I think a lot of companies, that I encourage you guys to take the time and energy to review it, is diving deep in Agile and Scrum and Kanban methodologies, understanding that. And so what I'll be doing is through scrum.org, taking their dev-specific Scrum certification as well. So that's something that I think I'll get a lot of value out of it. As a professional, I think I'll learn a few things, and I think it'll be a great resume builder. Same thing with the QA course. One thing that I'll be doing as well is I want to go to conferences. I think this has been something I in the past haven't maybe had the money to, as I've been sort of getting going, but now that I'm going, it's time to go, right? It's time, now that things are going well, it's time to take advantage of that. And so I already have one booked. I'm going to DevFest Florida this January. I want to say it's the 19th or something like that. It's a one-day conference. Bought the ticket. I'm going. If you're in Orlando, Florida, and you want to see your boy, I'll be there. So keep an eye out for me. So that'll be fun. That's something I'm looking forward to, and I think that's something that is going to be a staple of my career. I'm going to try and do 2 this year. I'm already doing 1 in January, so I'm sort of trying to. But one thing I want to mention is a lot of times people don't think about their next year plans until like next year. I've planned out these items I'm talking about probably 6 to 8 weeks before the new year, because I'm serious about them. These are things I'm actively want to accomplish, and I understand how hard it is to accomplish goals in a timely manner. And to do that, you need to hit the ground running on day one. So I'm sharing this video because I want you guys to do the same. Which probably should have shared it 2 months ago, but I'm still working out my own. So, but yeah, so conferences. I also want to talk at a meetup. This is something that I like volunteering. I like teaching. I'd love to go work at a college one day, but I don't have a degree, so I'll probably go work at a boot camp. I'd probably prefer working at a boot camp, but I'd love to be a teacher at some point in time in my career. Something I would enjoy. And so meetups, I think, are a great thing to provide value to the community and mentoring, and I think skill-wise it's at a point where I can do that, and at the very least I'll have an interesting story of how I failed or didn't fail to share with you guys. But that's something that I want to do as well, which I think is a great way to network. So for those of you who don't know, I've been writing a book as well. This is the one goal I'm worried I won't accomplish in 2019. QA bootcamp, the Agile certification, the going to the meetup and speaking, and going to the conferences. I'm almost positive I'm going to accomplish all of those. No problem, no question asked. Going and finishing up the book that I'm writing is the scarier thing because I've never written a book before, and it's most of the things I want to do are large in scope. I've done some things where I've sort of half-assed it, and I've done a smaller scope, and I'm always upset with myself in the process. So my book is a very large scope project, and that's the one that I'm afraid I won't accomplish, but I'm going to work towards it. At the very least, quite a bit is going to get accomplished. Another item that I want to do is I have a very large course that I'm working on that's covering about 100 topics. It's going to have 30 projects, 20 plus APIs that you're going to get introduced to. It's a doozy, and it's such a doozy. It took me all last weekend just to build up the general topics and then separate them out. And I spent a large portion of this weekend actually creating the syllabus and working out the curriculum of what it is it's going to be. This project here, this is going to be, these are the sections, this is the topic, we're going to join these together. And I'm still not done. I'm about 3/4 the way done, so I'm going to hope to finish up just outlining it this weekend. And then filming it will probably be a 3 to 4 month activity. But I'm very excited about that. And last but not least, another contender for one that may slip through the cracks, but I'm really absolutely going to try for it not to, is I want to launch a web application. I want to launch some sort of tool on the internet for people to use. I don't know what it is. I'm not talking about a website. I want to launch a web application that has a function and that I can work on for the years to come. You know, it's something that I can maintain and build and continue to grow, and it can turn into another passion project, much like YouTube has. And I have a couple ideas of what that might be. So there's a few things, but I don't quite know yet. But at the very least, I will launch a beta of it this year. So I'm going to brainstorm out a few more ideas once I get a little bit farther into the course. The whole year I'll be working on the book. But these are the items that I hope to accomplish, some very high-level things. I want to be a published author. I want to launch a much larger scope course than I've ever launched before. I'm doing a 10-week boot camp and doing a certification. I want to go to conferences and meetups and launch a web application. These are things I think can help my career moving forward. It doesn't mean I'm not going to learn new technologies along the way. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to be focused on continuing to write better code. But my goal are these sort of different directions, right? Of actually, at the end of the day, getting some resume builders, learning, and then building something. That's what I want to do. I want to build some shit, software related, and I think that will help. So that's my 2019 goal. What is that? 7 very ambitious ones. I would say 5 are guaranteed. I will, without a doubt, finish the boot camp, do the certification, go to the meetups, go to the conferences, launch the course. I'm not 100% sure with all that going on that the book is going to get finished and the web application. But the web application, I'm going to launch a beta, hopefully not an alpha. And then the book, I want progress to be made on it, but I'm going to be pushing to finish it on time and get it done. So we'll be talking about this in 365 days to find out if I did it. I think I will. And I hope you guys, whatever your goals are in your career as you're trying to progress, you do it too. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And if you're interested in any of my courses or some of the books I recommend so that you can level up your coding game, there is some links in the description below. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to check out my 100 Algorithm Challenge course. Get you prepped for those technical interviews to make sure you get nice offers. I actually just added some new content to it so you can get prepared for those technical phone screens as well. There's a link in the description to get it for just $9.99.